Hi! You are probably wondering what is happening and how I got into this situation. You see, for the past few days, I have been slowly losing my mind at this game called Stoneshard. Don't get me wrong, it's a very fun game that puts you into the life of a mercenary. But as you can see, the game is not exactly easy. And it's also very, very punishing. Also, I'm not exactly good at this game, at least not yet. But to properly explain what led to this clusterfuck, let me start from the beginning. First, if you are not familiar with Stoneshard, it's a hardcore turn-based RPG that puts you into the life of a mercenary. And no, I am not playing on permadeath mode, because I want this video to be longer than at least 2 minutes. But now, let's get to the story. We start the game with our old friend Varen, telling us about his adventure and how everything went wrong. But at least he has the Stoneshard. Whatever it is. The first thing we get to do is to choose our character. For this run, I went with Hilda. I will go into details about the build a bit later, but for now, all you need to know is I wanna use spears. Hilda not only starts with a spear and athletic affinity, but her unique trait is also great. She starts the game with a bone charm that gives her bonuses based on trophies from animals and monsters she kills. Not exactly useful at the very beginning of the game, but it ramps up very fast. With our character selected, we get a map and are tasked to find a ride into the city of Bryn. With no money and no known contacts. Sure sounds like a fun time. We talk to the tavern keep about any potential gossip around, not learning anything interesting. So it's time to leave the tavern and see where exactly we are and what we can do. Right outside the tavern, we meet a local drunk that wants us to bring him some alcohol. Obviously, I say yes. Now, to get serious, we need to make some money. So, time to do the groundwork. While walking around, we meet a local blacksmith, who has a way for us to make some extra coin. With the war going on, he is running low on weapons. And he wants us to find some old swords that he could fix. Sounds easy enough? Next up, the herbalist. He wants us to find some specific herbs. Another easy task to go. And here we go. The local carpenter has some spicy gossip about the elder. But no quest. I have a feeling that will change soon. All the talking and exploration gave us a level up, so now that I have a skill point to spend, it might be a good time to talk about the build plan. I already said I wanna use spears. With spears, there are 2 ways you can go. Strength, where you do tons of damage and focus on heavy armor, or agility, where you focus on positioning, light armor and a huge dodge chance. I wanna try agility, with a little twist. Spear does have the advantage of range over swords and axes, but we still need some range attack options. And instead of doing the smart thing and going with bows or crossbows that would already scale with my agility, let's do magic. And I think electric magic is the best fit. Electric spells have a lot of effects that have a chance to stun, knockback, or somehow hinder the target. I think that will work great with a spear that relies on keeping distance and pinning enemies. And let's not stop there. We can dabble with some arcane spells for utility, like for example teleport. So yeah, that's the plan. Spear with electricity. We'll see how that works out. All that being said, you probably remember that Hilda starts with a spear and athletics affinity. If you don't, you should probably visit a doctor. I said it like 4 minutes ago. But she has no starting magic. So that is a little bit of a problem we have to deal with. Fortunately, we can learn magic from books. But first, we need to find the books. If we are lucky, we will find some soon enough while clearing some dungeons. If we are not lucky, which, as I know myself, is the more likely option, there is a store later in the game where we can buy some. But that's going to cost money, which we don't have. But for now, we have to start somewhere, so let's get 2 basic spear skills. Impaling lunge, that attacks multiple tiles at once and does a great damage to body parts. And nail down. Probably the most important skill to start. It lets us pin enemies in a position where we can reach them, but they can't reach us. Enough explaining, time to continue the adventure. And it looks like there is a ton of work for a mercenary around. So let's accept the first contract. We must rescue a captive being held in a fort. The fort is close by, so let's start heading that way. On the way though, let's check out this little point of interest. Might be something nice. Like a bandit camp. Yeah, that's exactly what I always wanted. Well, at least we get to try out the spear before heading into some bigger danger. Before getting magic, we need to rely on ranged weapons. And it goes so well. At least the melee goes better. I back up behind the tree to break a line of sight from the archer in the back and deal with the second bandit. And finally the archer. After the fight, let's quickly head back because I forgot to do one very important thing. Let's rent a room in the inn. Not because we need to sleep, well, not yet, but because we need storage. If we want to get some loot, it's not a great idea to go exploring with already half full inventory. Quickly pay a visit to the herbalist to buy some healing salves, and back on the road. On the way to the fort, we pass by a mill. The miller tells us that he lost the key to a shed while working in the fields, and would be very thankful if we helped him find it. Naturally, I say yes, because, of course, I'm a very nice person, and get to looking. It doesn't take long to find, but as I come back, it's already nighttime and the miller is already sleeping. So, unless I wanna break in to return the key, I have to wait. Since he's sleeping, why not take a look in the shed and see what's in there? It's very small, but it has some great things in here. Some food, a splint, and a bedroll. Now let me tell you one thing. The only way you can save in this game is by sleeping. No save button, no quick saves, no nothing. Only sleep. And for sleeping you need a bed, like the one in the inn, or if you wanna sleep somewhere outside, like for example in front of a dungeon, you need a bedroll. Otherwise, if you die in there, it's a long walk back from the last save point. I feel some foreshadowing here, I'm not sure why. The shed also has a place to sleep, so I decide to use it and wait for the miller to wake up. In the morning, I return the key and he tells us that we can take anything in the shed as a reward. Well, I was planning on doing it anyway, so at least it's not stealing now. Discovering the fort gives just enough experience to level up before even stepping in. So I take precise hits. Outside of the fort, there are few bandits, which I take out with my perfect shooting skills. They were so nice to make a fire in front of the entrance, so we don't have to. Before going in, I make a quick vegetable salad and clear the inventory. The first group of enemies goes fine, but then I do what I do best. Fuck things up. Let's try and disarm this trap with a 75% chance of success. Well, shit. Okay, it's fine. Let's bandage the wound and continue. Another 2 enemies, that should be fine. Oh, he staggered me, and my arm is broken. And another 2 are coming. Let's try and escape. Never mind. Yeah, so that's the first death. And remember how I said the only way to save this game is by sleeping? I did bring the bedroll with me to the fort, but my bright idea was to first check the fort out a little bit and then sleep so I can save later on. Yeah, great idea that was. So now, time to head back from the shed. Attempt number 2. This time, let's be a bit more careful. Take fights slow and steady. Pin down the enemy, use the reach and then back off again. It's a very slow process, but it means literally 0 damage taken. Group number 2. I make sure to pick up any swords for the blacksmith. Bandits are great source of used weapons after all. Disarming traps now actually works, and oh god, that's a lot of them. Time to reset. And now let's see what we can do. I give up on the bow fast, because I am convinced we will never hit anything. So I do my best to pick them one by one. One goes down fast, then I back up into a corner trying to buy time for skills to come back and deal with the other 2. With everyone else dead, the boss tries to run away. But to where? And done. Time to finish looting. Now, it wouldn't be me if I didn't get greedy. I was exactly 1 XP away from a level up, so let's try and disarm this trap. Well, never mind then. At least we live. Next trap actually worked and we got the level up. So for the next skill, let's get leg sweep. It gives some mobility and it's another pin into our arsenal. After locating the cells, we escort the captive from the fort and he tells us he can find his own way back. Well, okay then, your choice. So we come back to the village alone and it's time to sleep. In the morning, it's time to deliver the swords to the blacksmith and get the reward. Then talk to the elder about the contract. We get our money and apparently after completing just 1 task, we are trustworthy enough to deal with a different situation. Nearby, there is a brewery that is occupied by some bandits and the elder wants us to clear it out. But there is something fishy here. We already heard some stuff about this from the carpenter, so let's go and ask him again. Who the fuck is Boris? Yeah, he won't talk until we recover a last shipment for him. Fine. Before looking for a delivery, let's pay a quick stop to the tailor to get some better equipment. And take a little peek behind the field to get the last plant for the herbalist. And he gives us 2 healing salves as a reward. Not bad. Also, there is no reason to not accept another contract while dealing with all of this. There is never enough money. Let's go looking for the shipment then. We pass by a drunken woodsman inn and by another stupid idea. With my huge brain, I decide it would be a great idea to try and kill it. Emphasis on the try. So I set a trap and try to lure the boar in. Any second now. And out of arrows. Great. After a bit of back and forth, the boar charges right into the trap, so it's time to deal some damage. But yeah, after the boar got out of the trap, it took its revenge. Death number 2. This time I avoid the boar and head straight to the place where the cart with the shipment should be, and find some more bandits. Who would have guessed? After quickly dealing with them, it's time to check the cart. The plane that the carpenter is looking for is still here. So after a little inventory rearrangement, it's time to head back. I take a bit different route to explore a bit more, and stumble upon a mine. Nope, not going in there until we sleep. I am not repeating all of this. Whoa, that was close. After delivering the plane, we finally get some information. The owner of the brewery is apparently angry with the elder about how he is running things. Well, let's see what comes of this when we get there. But first, the mine is really calling to me. I yearn for the mine. But the mine doesn't seem to yearn for me, and after almost dying to some bats, my yearning for the mine also subsides. But maybe I can grab a little bit of ore, and maybe just a little peek. Oh god, not again. Fuck! Not even close. But for real, let's not test the luck anymore. The place of the second contract is called a Pilgrim's Rest. Our job, find the dead bodies of the squad that went in before. Also, level up for discovering the location. Nice. Let's make fire, a quick meal, sleep, and head in. This time it's not bandits, it's undead. 3 at once right at the entrance. That's a nice welcoming party. If you're wondering, the bow skills are still the same. And they are not dumb enough to set off traps. Damn it. Corpse number 1, number 2. One day I will hit something with the bow. Bodies number 3 and 4, and contract is done. But let's explore a bit more. I think we found the source of all the undead here. Fortunately, everyone in that room was far enough from each other that it allowed for one-on-one fights every single time. We suffered some cuts, but overall, not a bad fight. Now for the loot part. A crossbow. You know what? Sure. Our accuracy with the bow is bad anyway, so let's try this. We're gonna have to buy bolts back in the village, but that's not a problem. It's time to head back anyway. With the contract finished and decent amount of money in the pocket, time to buy some things. Well, a thing. Knapsack. One thing always needed in this game is more space. With the knapsack, it's about time to start heading to the brewery and figure out what the heck is going on there. When we get there, we find out that the bandits that took over the brewery are actually a hard muscle of the owner to protect the brewery from raids. Raids coming from a group that is managed by none other than the elder of the village. Interesting. Now, there is a choice. Stay with the elder and slaughter everyone here, or help the brewery owner. The brewery owner promises us a cart and some supplies for the road if we deal with the bandits. So, you know, why not? He seems like a good guy. The bandits are not far from the brewery, and it's a pretty easy fight. Leveling up during the fight also helped a lot. After killing a few, the rest just starts running for their lives. And done. Inside, we find a note incriminating the other in dealing with these bandits. That might come in handy later. Coming back, we are awarded with a barrel of ale and told to come back in a few days and the cart with horses will be ready for us. We must inform our friend anyway and maybe pay one more visit to the elder. But first thing, sleep. After that, we sell the beer barrel for some good money at the tavern. Politely inform the elder that we know about his shady dealings and ask him for some money to keep our mouth shut. And right after this exchange, we accept the last contract to clear out the crypt. Very strange relationship we got with this man. Before heading down into the crypt, we do some totally legal grave robbing, make a fire, find some food to cook, and time to go. Holy shit! Did you see that? I actually hit something. I knew the crossbow was a good idea. So many dead buried here and no decent loot. What kind of crypt is this? Another hit! And here we have the first bigger group. So it's time to miss every single shot we can. So let's go back to the try and tested method. Pin, stab, repeat. But also this time adding a leg sweep when they get too close. It's a good thing that zombies can still bleed. Again, engage one, and as soon as the second one gets in range, back to safety with another leg sweep. At this point, there is not really an option to separate them, so it's time to just stab and hope. When leg sweep is back up, jump away, take some free shots, and repeat. And done. Finally some good loot in the side room. Mage gloves. Well, not for this round, but could sell decently. And with the last room cleared, that is all for this dungeon. Overall, a decent amount of loot. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. See my inventory now? Yeah, don't do this. You see, I thought enchanted weapons will be worth a decent money, but turns out they are not. They are worth the same amount as normal weapons. The only thing affecting their price is their durability. So the shirt and the sword, completely useless to me. Well, we learn with time. Back in the village, we finish the contract and it's time to talk to Warren about the cart. He scolds us for getting involved in local business and says we should have just stuck with the elder, but it's fine. We get a cart and that's what matters. We get to the brewery and indeed the cart is ready, so it's time to hit the road. And now I realize another thing. You know the tavern we were staying in? At some point, I stored a coin pouch in the chest and never took it back. Whoops. Well, we will have to make a trip back at some point. We arrive right outside the town of Bryn in the middle of the night. Warren tells us to explore the city and when we are ready to meet him in the Closed Harbor Tavern. So let's do just that. At the city gates we are given a leaflet informing us about the things happening in the city. Apparently the Vanguard are recruiting. Well, it's wartime, so no wonder. First stop though, the inn. Damn, you are expensive. Next I notice the church. Inside we have a very productive debate about religion and the gods. Now banker, this place is actually very useful, because here we can exchange the ancient coins we found in the crypt for a real money, and one ancient coin equals 5 normal coins, so that's very nice. We can also borrow money here and get checks if we ever need to pay for something and don't want to carry a lot of coins on hand. A jeweler, well, now I know where to sell all the shiny rocks. I find some craftsmen, they can finally fix my gear, but they don't sell anything because everything they make goes straight to the army. A mysterious clothes shop, I am sure that will be important later. An alchemist! Potions! Healing! I will be back later when I have my money, friend. Here's the inn that Warren wants us to meet him at. And it's way cheaper than the one from before. That's good to know. So now, let's see what he wants. He leads us to a damaged house where apparently one of his contacts lives. A great alchemist, apparently. The door seems to be stuck though, so we have to do a little bit of breaking and entering. And the inside of the house doesn't look much better than the outside. It looks like somebody already searched this place, and there is no trace of Warren's friend. Time to investigate. We find some interesting and confusing notes, and a secret lever that opens the door to the basement. But even there, no one. Only traces of some experiment. Warren finally puts together that someone might be looking for his friend, and he packed and escaped. We will have to track him down somehow. Warren will ask around and says he will meet us at a camp he is going to set up outside the city. I try the local drunk. Maybe he saw something. Remember, always rely on the local drunks. They know everything. And he sure did, just needed a little more alcohol to jog his memory. He talks about strange noises that were coming out of the house, but before he can finish, he passes out. Happens to the best of us. Before going to the camp, I pay a visit to one more shop in the city. The printing store. Because where is paper, there are books. And books mean magic. After a brief talk with the book printer, I found out a good and a bad thing. The good thing, he indeed has all kinds of books we could learn from. And the bad thing, he has tier 2 books. Which is fine for stuff we already know, like spear fighting. But if we wanna unlock electromancy, we need the first tier. At least we now know where to get these after we find the first one. With all that done, I start slowly heading to the camp. And I think that's a good wrapping up point for now. We managed a lot. We acquired a cart, got ourselves to the first big city, and progressed the main quest quite a bit. In the next one, we will finish setting up our traveling caravan, start looking for new members, travel back to get the coin pouch I left behind, and mainly start dealing with higher level contracts, which I can spoil to you will go with 0 problems and 0 deaths. Me when I lie. We will also get to hunting some animals to finally upgrade our charm. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you next time.